what are they doing that's really bad, and what are they doing that's just part of their job?
Yeah.
And that's the problem that makes it so damn hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, as you go out and smoke again, we're live already.
we are.
I'm just checking out the scene since our nice little time that we had the last time we were in here. What was it? Saturday night, right? Yeah, when Bob came in here
Oh, I wasn't. I
and
wasn't there.
destroyed the place.
Did he really?
Well, he fucked up my camera, dude. So I'm just making sure that the camera's all right and that it's pointed towards us and it's all in focus because Bob, you know who Bob is, and we're not gonna say Bob's last name, but those of you who are local to the Whether It's Soul podcast know who Bob is, and he doesn't have a he hates cameras.
What about Bob?
He hates cameras. And he hates recording devices, and he just hates being in here. So he puts a sock over the camera. He knocked down my camera, and then he unplugged a whole bunch of shit in here, thinking that things were listening to him and shit. The guy's just total freaking paranoid. So, but we're in here smoking pot and whatever else we do. So that's the way we do it. So,
They're out to get you, Bob.
we're out to get you, Bob.
Don't worry, Bob. It's all being recorded from satellite anyway.
Really doesn't matter because your phone's listening to you, my TV's listening to you, my computer's listening to you. Everybody's listening to you.
They're
I
watching
guess
you too.
they're watching me too. So I mean, one of these days you'll just see the screen go blank, and you'll know the NSA. I overstepped my bounds.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're gonna talk. Oh, we're not recording yet.
Oh, okay.
No, we're live on YouTube, and you're
Oh,
hearing the
okay.
pre-show. So we got about 10 minutes left that we're just gonna fill in and do a sound checks here, and this is what's everybody's. You guys get a double dose of the Weathered Soul podcast because I still have not dropped the end of the year podcast. So you guys can go back to YouTube and look at it from last week, but I have not dropped it on the audio. So those of you guys that are audio listeners, also, you're going to get a double drop this week. So
Closed captioning.
no closed captioning, but I forgot again to press the record button last week or 2 weeks ago, or last time that we had the podcast. I think it was right after Christmas or something. Was it right after Christmas? Maybe, I don't know.
I admit to nothing.
I admit to nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
No, it was actually before Christmas, the Thursday
Yeah, it
before
was a
Christmas.
perfect podcast.
It was.
Yes,
Not really.
best one ever.
If you missed it, you missed something else. Right? You can now hear us on Anchor FM. We're happy to be with Anchor FM, and you're going to hear some commercials and stuff that are coming from them, and that's featuring me. I'm going to have Dougie actually step in and do a piece one of these days and record his beautiful voice for our podcast, and then we'll have him on the ad. And lots of things changing on the Weathered Soul podcast, and we got a new segment for the podcast, and the segment's going to be after the first segment because we're going to do two segments here. We get to do the first segment, which will just be kind of the regular podcast and stuff, and then I've always wanted to. I'm a big proponent for being out of debt because I was never like that. So I studied a lot of Dave Ramsey. I studied a lot of Susie Orman and stuff like that. And surprisingly, I'm debt free, and it's just freaking great. And I think that everybody should kind of lean
Yeah.
towards that way
Well,
if
it's
they
a
can.
double-edged
It
sword,
is, yeah,
and it's also interesting too because don't forget this changes generationally too.
absolutely.
Um, Gen Z are growing up in basically a cashless society,
Absolutely. I hear
and,
you there.
and they seem the kids okay because there's young kids, right? They seem to have a grasp on things,
Yeah.
but
We'll see.
their parents don't.
Yeah. That's where.
What do you mean I'm out of money? I still got checks.
So the reason why I'm doing it is because that I was asked by several friends over the holidays. They were they know that I listen to Jason Stapleton. I'm into this podcast about wealth, power, and influence. And they're asking me, well, what kind of debt you? And I'm like, I don't have any debt. No.
Just mortgage and
I got a
and a
mortgage.
car payment.
Yeah, I don't even have a car payment
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
I'm on.
We'll be done with that soon.
Yeah, I'm totally out of debt. So I mean,
Yeah, but you have
it's
to buy a new car soon.
Yeah, I'll buy it cash.
No, you don't do that.
I
That
will
doesn't make
definitely be
sense.
buying it cash, and it will definitely not be a brand new one. Can you do me a favor and take that bag and put it outside? It's
Which
got
bag?
that
The
bag that's
paper
right up
bag?
there, the paper bag that's up there. Yeah, we've got
Let me disengage my headgear. It might be a little noisy.
putting Dougie to work because I got to pay him now since he's not a gig. He's not a gig guy
Gnats
anymore.
in it?
I don't know. I've got some gnats coming around here. It might be those oranges in the back, but that might be some of it. Making Dougie earn his pay.
Yeah,
AB5 and all that other crap that drinking.
yeah. The county tree people came and put a sticky pad in my lemon tree.
A sticky pad in your lemon
Yeah,
tree for
catch
what?
flies. See what's growing in there.
Oh, like they're looking for the fruit fly and shit like that, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah, or whatever it's
Have we
called.
still not eradicated that?
No, it's something else. Some kind of like moth or something. I think they're looking for.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know it's always something,
Always
man.
something. Yeah, I
Always
get two
something.
or three different shape traps put in there every year.
They haven't come by my house in
Well,
time.
they came by once and asked me if they could do it, and I said, yeah, I do it anytime you want, any tree you want.
Yeah.
So they do the lemon tree, and I don't think they ever. Yeah, they did the nectarine tree once too.
Guy inside the van looking at the freaking monitor and going like, yeah, I think he's going in there. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's over there. Yeah, yeah, behind the bush, behind
Yeah.
the lemon tree. Yeah,
Well,
right there.
not getting a clear picture. Turn up the X-ray power a little bit.
We got this guy. So we're gonna have this segment called God dang, it's right off the top of my head, and I can't say anything because my freaking computer's so slow.
Oh, I guess that's your fault too.
Uh,
Yeah.
if everybody would listen every once in a while, then we can make money. And all you have to do is listen. So if you really want to support the Weather Soul podcast, all you got to do is listen on your podcatcher, and every listen that we get money.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, you understand if you want your computer to run faster, you got to send more money to Google.
They don't like me right now.
And that is your
But no, I
proof.
got all these gnats in here because my boss gave me a bunch of oranges, and I've been you can only eat so many oranges.
Yeah. And then you got to eat mine.
Yeah, right. And then exactly. So oranges and lemons and everything coming out of my
We've got
skull, and
so much citrus
and
this year.
then
The
yeah,
orange tree is loaded. The lemon tree is loaded. The lime tree is loaded. It must have been good summer for them or something.
that must have been. But anyway, so we get gnats in here because probably have a couple of oranges that are going bad or something like that. And those fruit
Yeah.
flies, man, they come
I
like that. I
don't.
think they grow into the freaking fruit. That's what I'm thinking. The
I know you
fruit
have
is the
perfectly clean fruit. You bring it in, you put it in a bowl in the kitchen, and a day later, there's flies coming out of it. It's like, how did that
how
happen?
did that happen? I don't understand how that happens, man. I
They
just
must be in the
really don't.
bags.
It's got to be something, man. There's got to be like I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's
Well,
too
it would
weird.
make sense. They put fruit fly larvae in the um, produce bags. Okay, that way they get embedded in the produce as you bring them home, and
I wonder if
then
it's
they
a
emerge,
wonder if
and
it's
you have to buy more produce.
I wonder if it's a government plot to like distribute something in the air or distribute something to the plants or something like that. You never know, dude. You never know what those guys are up to, dude. I don't trust freaking government. 3, 2, 1. How you doing, Doug? What's up,
I'm
man?
doing all right.
Good. Happy New Year, bro.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Safe and successful, I hope.
Welcome to the Weather Soul podcast. You got Bruce and Doug here, and we're gonna have to do that again.
Hmm. 1, 2,
Don't you love that?
3,
No, I'm not ready yet.
go.
I just broke the cardinal rule again. I can't believe I do that. It's outrageous.
You have to write a program.
I'm gonna have to write a program.
Yeah. Anyway, so Happy New Year, Bruce.
Happy New Year, Doug. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, man.
Got us on the Weather Soul podcast here on anchor.fm, and we would like to welcome you to 2020. We are in the roaring 20s now.
2020.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man.
Wow.
Did you make it up all the way?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I was kind of asleep in my lounge chair.
Mm.
Probably sometime between 11 and 11:30, I fell asleep, and then Abby said, like 30 seconds, Doug. And I heard her. And then she was like 15 seconds, Doug. And I heard her. And then I heard this countdown and I woke up and it's like it was at 5. So I saw it.
We watched, let's see, my night started out with, hello, Sassy. My dog's in here. Going to interrupt ourselves on the Buttered Soul
It's
podcast.
a family
But
podcast.
it's a family podcast anyway, so we have to include dogs. But what we did over the for New Year's Eve was we had what did we have for dinner? I can't remember what we had for dinner. Anyway, but we watched 50 First Dates.
Oh, wow.
We started out with 50 First Dates.
And you remembered?
And then we rented a Fandango movie or something off of the Roku, and we did Hobbs and Shaw, which is
Okay.
a the last Fast and Furious, or from the Fast and Furious people who make the. I think it all kind of weaves into that storyline. You know,
Yeah.
everything's a big fucking saga
Oh,
now.
I'm
So
sure Tracy appreciated that.
it was good. Yeah, yeah, it was actually, it was what I expected. It's freaking wall to wall action. There's
Over the top.
it's over the top, just action and thrill. Yeah, it's a thrill ride. It's basically you're taking a thrill ride now when you buy a movie like that. It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
here, strap in. There you go. But yeah, that's what we did. And it ended about 9 o'clock, and I think we grabbed onto something else we were watching, and then I finally just went like, yeah, about 11:15. I'm going like, I'm going to bed. I think it was more like 10. I just went and laid down, but it was like 11 o'clock when I'm going like, okay. And then I was fast asleep, and I heard, subconsciously,
Oh,
I
the
heard the
fireworks.
fireworks going
Yeah.
off, and I'm like, "Mm, Tracy's nowhere to be found." I'm like, okay. And I went back to sleep, and that was the extent of my New
I hear
Year's.
fireworks. We're still here.
It's like a war zone around here, but I guess they do fireworks over at Christopher and
Yeah.
a couple of different places. They actually do. The Gilroy Gardens.
Oh,
There's
yeah. Yeah.
fireworks too. I
Gilroy
had no
Gardens.
idea. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah.
I was just told that by my sister, so it was pretty interesting. And yeah, that was my New Year's. Man. Got up on New Year's Day and took down Christmas.
Somebody lit off a big boomer in our neighborhood. Man, it's like, but wasn't he one of those ones that, you kind of hear in the house where it kind of goes like, boom?
Mm.
No, this was boom. I mean, everything shook. Stuff moved on the shelves. It
Was that
was,
11:28 last night?
no.
No, that's
No.
because 11:28 last night we had a shaker.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't notice that.
You didn't even notice it?
No. No,
And
we were already in bed.
it woke me up out of dead sleep, and Tracy's all like, "What the?"
Yeah.
It shook the place really good. I mean,
Wow. We were both dead.
it was a.
Might have heard something and said, what the hell's that? A
It's the
cat?
strongest one I've felt here yet
Yeah. Well, it's
since I've been
3.9.
here.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's almost 4.
yeah.
Four's.
So they said 4.1. They done it to 3.9. Actually, when I first went to it, it was 2.2 on the UCGS. I went right after 2.2, and then it got upgraded to 4.1. Then it got degraded to 3.9. But yeah, it was a shaker, dude. I'm
Yeah.
like, being that close. I mean, we've had 3.1s and 4 points and stuff like that other places around here, but not like right under us. This one was like 5 miles away, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right up there on by Anderson, where the nice safe dam is.
I didn't even think about that. Where was that 5.5 miles they measured from? Because it was northeast.
Yeah.
And if you go from the northeast of um, of the center of Morgan Hill, that's Anderson down. I never thought of that, dude. Two
Yeah.
mi- 2 miles east and 5 miles north.
Any earthquakes on that side should make you nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's right through
Yeah.
Isn't the San Andreas Fault right through there? Is it right through there? I think it's really close.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right here. We're in earthquake land.
Yeah. It goes right up the valley.
I'm gonna start moving and shaking really soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hey.
Yeah. Makes you think, makes you wonder. Better be prepared out there. So, again, I want to welcome you guys to the Leather Soul podcast. You got Dougie here, you got Brucey here, We're going to be with you for the year. I kind of made a new resolution, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to some motivational podcasts. I listen to a lot of libertarian podcasts, some comedy podcasts, some Republican I kind of listen to it all. And um, I was going somewhere with this. Oh, I made a resolution because I heard on a podcast, one of my podcast gurus, that in order to keep an audience, says do not miss an episode. They're used to weekly episodes. You give them weekly episodes. Well, we have 300 listeners, and I don't know how many I'm going to get to this, but the one that we did before this that I didn't, or the one before for Anthony that I posted, we hadn't posted in a while. So I mean, so
Yeah, yeah.
our listenership went way, way, way down.
Well, that makes
So hopefully
sense.
those 300 come back. I'm begging you come back. We're going to be here every
You got to
week.
play repeats.
We're going to have one every week.
I
I
mean,
mean,
how does like Stephen Colbert and
well, they do,
Trevor
they do best
Noah
of, but I
and
don't have
yeah,
any best
they
of
they
yet.
take a month off.
We don't have any best of yet.
Bill Maher, it takes like 2.5 months
We
off.
got to get a best of first.
And it's not like people are like, "Ah, I'll find something else to watch." They're like, "When's he coming back? When's he coming back?"
But yeah, I vow to this podcast and the audience because I enjoy doing this, and it's just like I'm so glad that 2019 is behind us because to me it was a really shitty year,
Oh, it's a
and
rough one.
I think for both of us it was a rough one, and I mean in all
I mean,
aspects. I
good things
mean,
happened. Good things
yeah,
did
yeah,
happen.
there was some
There are
blessings.
highlights to the year,
There
but
was a lot of blessings.
in
I
general,
you know
a lot of change, a lot of emotional turmoil, and a lot of change in life.
yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't have any blessings to count because I have lots and lots and lots of blessings to count.
Right, right. Yeah.
But the fact that we had the garlic festival incident, we had Anthony passing away on my side, and just some business things didn't pan out the way I wanted them to. Uh, yeah, I got into a real political kind of aura there for a while that I kind of kind of grew out of, got kind of tired of. You'll hear it every once in a while here, but for the most part, a lot of things, a lot of just negative stuff happened to me this year, but a lot of good stuff that happened in 2019 too. But I'm glad to see it's over.
Well, I think what happens a lot with when you do political commentary is people don't understand that you're stating an opinion. You're not necessarily writing law, and they take it as if what you're saying is somehow being etched on the side of a mountain, and they have to, and if it's wrong, incorrect, or doesn't agree with them, they have to go blow it off the side of the mountain.
Yeah,
But instead of just saying, "That's interesting point," but
yeah, it's just tough. I think the toughest thing for me when I do commentary and opinion is that it's not that I'm not thick-skinned. It's that I get called out on stuff that I can prove within an instant of the validity of what I say,
prove by how?
proved by different sources that I go to instead of my main three, Fox,
If
CNN, and
there's any one
MSNBC.
source that disagrees with it, then it makes it invalid.
I understand it makes it
Yeah.
invalid, but it doesn't make it invalid to the point that I go like, "Fuck you," it's invalid. That to me, when
No.
somebody says that to you,
Yeah.
then to me, you know,
That's not
being
making their
initiative,
case.
it's just not being, yeah, it's not being open minded. I mean,
Mm,
that's the whole thing that's gone wrong with, I think,
yeah.
with politics and the left and the right now is just it's just like it's my way or no way, and that's not the way
Yeah.
to do anything, dude. I mean, it really
Well,
isn't.
when somebody cares about you, they want you to have correct thinking. But on the other hand, it's not so hard to just say, "I don't care if you want to be wrong."
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
mean, really, I mean, that's your opinion. That's great. I don't agree with it, and I don't care if you want to be wrong. We don't
yeah,
have to argue about it. Just
that's
go
right.
ahead and be wrong.
But everybody wants to argue about it now and call you names and this and that's and
Yeah.
to me I think
Does that change anything?
it's probably always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean really, it's probably always been like that. But at the same time, uh, it's not that I don't have thick skin. It's just I'm surprised. I'm more surprised at what I've found out. about
Yeah.
everything.
Nobody wants to be told they're wrong. Nobody wants to be
No,
told that they don't know something
but it's
when they think
also
they do.
when you're following a narrative on something that actually you sought out and did sources and stuff like that, and then you start weeding out all their bullshit. So just because you have some different source that has a different opinion about something doesn't mean that their sources aren't full of shit either. So I mean, I found plenty of instances, in all my favorite podcasts where people are just full of shit with it. It's like Dan Bongino is one of my favorite podcasters. He's a real conservative guy, but I find holes and stuff in his stuff all the time. I mean, he does facts. He really does facts. But the problem is with his facts is that they're out of context, just like everybody else's are out of context. So
Well,
you can
yeah,
find
yeah,
holes in
exactly,
his story where
exactly.
he's
Like
not
he could
taking.
say the
Yeah.
same thing. Rachel Maddow speaks facts. Cuomo speaks facts. Tucker speaks facts. But
but you can find
it's
the
all take.
hole. But you
Yeah,
can find the holes in them because you can't deny what they're saying. I mean, you can say, okay, I see what you're saying, but I know something that comes off of this that you're not saying to make your point, and not to set the agenda so much as to tell the story.
right.
And I've caught him in a couple of places like that, and every other podcast is the same way. I've
Yeah.
caught Jimmy Dore doing it. I've caught everybody who has a podcast because that's just where you have to get a conversation started. But that's what I'm talking about is that when you try to get this conversation started with the statement that is true, but but above that, below that truth, is a bunch of these little veins out that go like there's some bullshit to that because you're not actually telling the story of why either that's true or why is it hyperbole or why is it bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because a fact can be a fact, but it can still be bullshit.
How about this one?
So
Use your God-given intelligence and figure it out.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. So the point is that you start with that fact, and that fact becomes the whole basis of the debate, and it shouldn't,
Right.
because what you did is you baited, number one,
Yeah.
gaslighted, baited, or whatever, to get to what you really want to talk about, but nobody wants to talk about what you really want to talk about. They want to talk about that statement that you made first. They want to talk about what Eddie Murphy wanted to talk about freaking 15, 20 years ago when he was talking about gay people and stuff like that. He comes out, he freaking gets on his knees and begs forgiveness to the freaking community. And it's just like, hey, it was funny then.
Yep.
And you know, it's pretty funny. It's pretty damn funny now. I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything, but
Right.
funny's funny.
Yeah.
And it's still funny now. If you watch Delirious now, it'd still be just as funny as it was back when it first came out.
Yeah. Except now you'd be saying, "Oh boy, you can't say that anymore."
Yeah, Blazing Saddles. I mean, come on, how many different
Oh,
movies and comedians and stuff like that have we been through? Where it's just like I wish Richard Pryor. I don't know if I wish Richard Pryor was because I don't know what he'd say. I don't know if he'd bow either, but I just don't understand the bowing to the social justice of anything that's really going on because you got to use your God given talent of you know
yeah.
listening to your senses,
Right.
right?
And it's gotten to the point now where there's so much publicity of all of the persecutions that go on that it causes a knee-jerk reaction in the opposite direction.
Right, right. And I think we're just way too sensitive. I think that's what it really comes down to.
Well, yeah, yeah, and I think also other times you find that people just need a cause. You're right. I mean, people are looking at various uh, points of view and basically looking for a bandwagon to jump on.
Yeah, and I really don't have a lot more to say about it other than the fact that I just think it's plain stupid of the way, you know, we've all just become these snowflakes, man. Really, really, pretty much, that's what it becomes. I mean,
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you can't tell anybody anything anymore in truth without them just being a snowflake about it and breaking down. I mean, it's really crazy.
well, yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, and I don't want to sound like cold-hearted asshole or anything because I have feelings too,
Yeah.
right? And I try to empathize with people. I mean, I try to realize that people have feelings too. So sometimes you got to watch what you say. Um,
But that's part of
this is
having
something I've
common
developed
sense.
later in life.
But
But
that's part of having common sense.
well, it's part of having common sense, also common courtesy,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
if you're
But
going
the
if
hard part is understanding what disturbs somebody.
yeah, but
Bec- because
well,
what disturbs somebody today
yeah.
didn't didn't disturb or may have disturbed them before, but I didn't know about it.
Okay.
Now I know about it.
Let's do the
And
scenario right
before,
here.
because I didn't know about it, I didn't know that it was disturbing them, and I thought it was okay, did not make it okay, right? But it happened. So you could say, grow a dick, get over it, or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could.
No harm, no foul.
I
I mean,
say
that's a
I
question.
say life is full of freaking choices, and you gotta deal with the choices that
Yeah.
you've made for yourself, no matter good or
Yeah.
bad.
Well, I think it comes from the intent, right? If
How can
I called somebody a racial slur because that's just what we did at the time,
Mhm.
and they didn't tell me directly, I take offense to that. How the hell am I supposed to know that it was wrong? Now, 20 years later, somebody tells them that was wrong, and now they're mad at me for it. Do you follow what I'm saying?
No, I understand totally
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
I
yeah. I mean,
understand totally what you're
that's
saying, but how's Mel Brooks? I mean, if you're going to go see Blazing Saddles,
you're
you
gonna
know
hear the N word,
you're going to hear the N word. You know you're walking into. You go to Eddie Murphy
right?
concert, you know what you're walking into. You
Right.
go to a rock concert, you know you're walking into. You go to a
If you go
you
to a
know
porno
you
movie,
go
you're
to a
gonna
porno
see
movie, you're going to
genitals.
see. I mean, you're
Yeah,
going to see these things. So
yeah.
I can understand the essence of somebody's first time. They're flipping channels and they come across IFC, who always plays all their movies uncut, and they
Uncut.
come across Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
First time they've seen it, they're young, they're impressionable, they're whatever, and because of the quote social justice warrior types that we got now, they're all of a sudden you see somebody's outraged about the film or Eddie Murphy or whoever
I
the
think
case
they
may
even
be.
cut the farting scene short.
I can understand that,
Yeah.
but they've got the right to go click and turn it off.
Right.
You can turn it off.
Right.
You can walk out of any place that you want to. I mean, for 99% of us can
Yeah.
walk out of any place that we need to
Exactly.
not be offended.
Nobody's forcing you to watch
Nobody's
it.
forcing you to watch it, and I think that's kind of the essence of what I was getting at when everybody's so sensitive about these issues and where I was going with politics. But
Yeah.
um, I was kind of leading into this with the politics thing with um, the corruption that we were talking about before. That I think that we need to flush everybody out of Congress. I mean,
Well, we've said that 1,000
yeah, we
times.
said that 1,000
Fire
times.
them all.
We've been bitching about it for years and stuff like that. And I just want to I want to talk up the Jimmy Dore show again. So if you guys want to hear a
Do you get
really
money
good,
from him or something?
I don't know, but I don't get money from him. But man, I sure, the reason here's the reason why that I like Jimmy Dore. He's a progressive socialist, and that's not me. But there's something about there's because I'm a libertarian and I lean conservative, but there's something about people that just don't want to take the bullshit. They don't want to take the fucking hyperball. They don't want to take the agenda that everybody's feeding us in the mainstream media and society as a general. They're not going to get fed that. They're going to call you back out on the bullshit and go like, "This is the way it should be, and this is the way that it should be run." Now, I don't believe in a whole lot of progressive and socialist ideas, but I do believe that bullshit is bullshit and corruption is corruption, from Donald Trump to Nancy Pelosi all the way down the freaking stream. It's all corrupt. I mean, probably a good 90% of all the politicians that are sitting in the Senate and and House seats are corrupt, and they're all bought with corporate money,
Hmm?
and every damn near every single one of them.
And that's a valid point that's been made 1,000 times too. Get the
Exactly.
money out of politics.
Eh,
Look at other countries. Look at many other countries in the world have things where election season's only a certain period of time, right? You can't even talk about whether you're running or not until, like, whatever, 6 weeks before the election. Blah blah blah. Um, money. If you take corporate money, your politician take corporate money. You're marked as a corporate stoop.
Right.
You don't get elected.
Right.
You
Mhm.
mentioned Jesus Christ, they throw tomatoes at
Oh
you.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, other countries, their politics are completely. I mean, their election cycle and system is completely different than ours.
Yeah. So Jimmy Dore's last show, he did a extended interview with a gentleman called Cenk Iger. I think that's the way that that you say his name, and he's running for Congress against Katie Hill in the California's 25th district here in California. And
Where's the 25th district?
the
You
25th
know,
district is down south.
so yeah,
Yeah, down south. And he's a former MSNBC personality and the founder of the Young Turks and
okay.
progressive activist. But I listened to him today, and let me tell you, I I like him. I like what he said. I like what it, I wish him the best. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to take on the corporate money that Katie Hill is going to be able to raise against him and sway the Democrat, sway the constituents that they actually want to get rid of, corruption and not keep going on the status quo. So I wish him the best. I really want him to go far because if he's not full of shit, then he's saying all the right things, and he wants corruption. He wants all this stuff. He doesn't believe in any of the RussiaGate stuff. He doesn't believe in any of this. He believes that the president should be impeached not because of what they're saying that he's done. Is that what he said? What we don't know. About the money laundering and stuff that goes on in businessmen that make billions of dollars. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
every billionaire is doing something kind of shady and stuff like that. So I mean, there's no
Well,
doubt about it.
even if you might say it's shady, it might be a very light shade of gray, but there's so many
We would go to
loopholes
Yeah,
in the law. We would go to jail
we would
for
go
it,
to
but
jail
but
for it.
they
Yeah,
wouldn't
we would go
because
to jail
they
for
have
that.
enough
Yeah,
resources
see,
to.
that's not fair. See, that's what
Yeah,
Cenk believes,
yeah.
and he's going like it's time to hold people accountable. And the first thing he would do if he got elected is he's calling out Nancy Pelosi for all the bullshit that's been going on.
Hmm.
Not because of the impeachment stuff. It's all the bullshit that's been going
Well,
on in the Democratic Party. Period.
I would love to
And
see that. So the 25th district is just north of L.A.
yeah,
Yeah, up in I guess that's San Bernardino
right,
Mountains. Yeah,
right, right. Katie
yeah,
Hill's
yeah.
their Congress their
It seems like it's fairly
House.
well. It said the median income is 76,000,
Yeah.
so that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's saying he's got a whole lot of there's a lot of blue collar cops, fire department, all
Uh-huh.
those people kind of like that people
From
up
LA
there.
go up there. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's kind of it's a purple district,
Hmm.
and could go either way.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he's
I agree with that 100%. I would love, and I can't do the research, and I don't know. I'm sure somebody has, but and I could look it up
yeah, I'm at sec
to
20. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, to see what external incomes our representatives and senators, both in state and national seats collect. I
It's
mean,
millions of dollars.
and millions.
It's millions of
Mitch
dollars.
McConnell is like worth so much
It's
money.
millions of
I
dollars.
mean, look at all these
And
people.
even though the bulk of that money goes into the party, that a lot of that money is going into their pockets. So there's a split. I mean, that's the way they do it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so about Sync, I'm at Sync 2020. That's CENK 2020.com about Sync. This is his website. This is why I decided to run. He says, I reported for years about the corruption happening in Washington, and I'm more convinced than ever that we have to get the money out of politics. And in the order that we must start a national conversation around the issue. Call it what it is: corruption, corporate PAC money has another name, a bribe. Corporations don't give money to politicians for their health or for their charity. They do it for the return of investment. And that will call out that corruption and help end it. Only when we end corruption in Washington will we return to representing the people. And I'm running to bring democracy back to the people. Now, I can get behind something like that. I can get behind that same message from a Republican that talked as passionate as he did on Jimmy Dore podcast. I can get across the same one. We got another guy in the Libertarian Party who's running like that, and they all want to go in there and just stop this lunacy. And that's somebody I can get. That's somebody that I can get
I can
behind.
get behind that
I can
too.
get behind that. I mean,
But
because to hear this guy's passionate plea, and you can
yeah,
tell bullshit from a fucking polished politician.
right,
Okay,
right, right. Now, you come in, you're pure, you're virgin. How long does it take before you fall into the same pit?
not long with the AOC. So I mean, case in point, and then think all of them. I mean, you
They
know,
have to.
you have to. I mean, Justin the Mash got out of there because he was tired because it was like, really? And he went back to being independent. He's not a libertarian anymore. He crossed
Mm,
over the line and went Republican, but he couldn't stand it anymore. He went back to independent. And then there's those, I don't know, for reports flip flopping back and forth
yeah,
between um, senators and representatives switching their parties in the last couple of months, since the Trump stuff going on. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if you guys down there in Southern California, 25th district, I would say give this guy a listen. Listen to that Jimmy Dore podcast. He did about a 90-minute interview with
mhm,
him, and it was really really good. And the guy really really speaks. To me, everything that I've read about him so far, he's pretty straight up guy. I mean,
mhm.
he
This whole conversation reminds me of something I learned in school. I think it was grade school or high school, one or the other. But we'll have to go and look it up again. But after World War II, when Japan surrendered, um, that the United States set up their form of government. Basically, told them, this is your government. Um, and the type of government that we gave them gave a lot of power to corporations. Basically, it's almost like corporate socialism. You work for the company takes care of you. Government doesn't have to worry about it because the corporation is. Corporation subsidizes your housing, subsidizes your health care, subsidizes your
what are you
education, your
talking?
kids, everything.
Sony, Kia, Tiac,
Yeah, yeah,
Kodak.
all of them.
Oh,
Mitsubishi, you name it.
yeah.
Yamaha. Anyway, um, and something that my instructor told me that just struck into my head now was that the United States wishes they had started that way too.
Well, they're trying to get that way
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and have been ever since. Yeah, there you
Yeah, they
go.
have been ever
Right on.
since. But in the same token, you're hearing the same thing with places like Google, places like Apple.
Yeah,
Those
are
places,
tending to go that way.
those big huge campuses. Facebook, it's culture, it's a lifestyle.
Right,
They take
right.
care of you.
You
I
can have an
mean,
apartment in the complex if you
yeah,
want.
you go there and your life is just that
That's it.
job and that that's your little area. You
The
don't,
next thing you do, they're going to be
you
wearing
know,
little blue suits and doing jumping jacks in the parking lot in the morning. Damn,
yeah,
we are Japan.
and then all of a sudden, they go to the ball game because everybody's going to the ball game, and then they all come back. Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. I've worked around people that have been with Apple and been with Facebook before, and you just go like, "Wow, it's like that." And they go like, "Yeah, we had to get
Oh,
out.
I
We gotta get out."
I know people that were in companies in the '80s whose
I'm
whose
sure.
culture was,
Well,
we're not a company, we're a cult.
Well, IBM, yeah,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on,
yeah,
IBM, all
yeah,
those guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
You
love
name it.
those IBM guys because
Yeah.
they're some of them are some of my best friends in the whole world.
Oh, God. I remember when I was first out of college going to IBM in Binghamton, New York, and walking around and looking at all those people just staring deadly and straight ahead through the hallway saying, "Hey," and not even getting a response from
Stepford wives.
them.
You know?
White shirts, blue ties. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, well, they're already starting to dress up at my company, so I mean, they've all bought us shirts and stuff like that. So we've got a whole week, week and a half worth of shirts that I can wear to work. And
Dress shirts or?
oh yeah, dress shirts and polos and stuff like that. Yeah, they take care of us. They got us this great big nice Carhartt freaking nice jacket and everything
All with company logo?
all company logo.
Tax write-off.
Yeah,
Bada boom, bada boom.
bada boom, bada boom.
Now, the company I used to work for would make me buy all of that stuff as a requirement of my job and tell me I can write it off my taxes. Yeah. Yeah, great way.
So that's why he does it.
Well, no, no,
No,
if
they
no,
really
because a genius thing for a manager to do is figure out ways to get the income they're paying their employees back,
right,
and that's one way.
right. Yeah, yeah, got to pay you 35 cents every time we get like 10 listeners. So it's getting expensive now. I'll have to learn how to cut corners here. People have to not. replace one of these. But hey, if you listen to us on Anchor.fm, that's all you got to do is go to your favorite podcast site like iTunes, like Stitcher, like Anchor.fm, like any of the podcatchers, and you can catch Weather Soul podcast on there. And we actually get paid. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to make some money this year. It might not be a lot of money, but we'll make some money this year. And I got to share the podcast if you like me
Yeah.
and Doug. If you just like Doug,
When we get
share
to
the
the point
podcast.
where we can afford a coffee with our revenues,
right now, I'm
then we're
still
talking.
right now I'm still buying my own beer.
Still subsidizing the refreshments.
So we're not quite making money yet. But anyway, we're glad to have you guys here, and we're going to take a little break, and we will be right back. Hello, doggies. I don't know why you're in here. I don't know why your mom would let you in here.
Yeah, that's all right.
Come on, get, go. All right, well, we're back. Weather Soul podcast here, second round. It's like
That was an exciting break.
that was an exciting break. I didn't have to go pee or anything, but it wasn't that kind of a break.
No.
But anyway, yeah, we're going to be back on Thursday nights. I made a resolution that we're going to be here every Thursday night to do some kind of podcast, whether it be me, you, or me and you, or the dogs or whatever. Somebody's going to drop a podcast on
Remote
Thursday night.
location.
Yeah, remote location. You just never know. But yeah, it's good to be back. 2020. We're going into our version of the Roaring Twenties because me and you weren't born back in the Roaring Twenties.
No,
Back in the days before the Depression.
no, but our parents were born
Yeah,
right at the end of it.
yeah. My father was born in 1926. He passed away years ago.
Yeah,
My mom was born in 29, I believe. She's 80. She's 88. So I got to do the math on that. But that's when she was born.
my mom was born, I think, in 30.
Yeah,
Dad a couple of years before that.
right.
But yeah, I mean, like I told you, it's like at my dad's memorial service. My sister was talking about his, giving his eulogy, talking about his life, and and he was in, just a young kid. He was like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, delivering newspapers, and then walking along the railroad tracks, pick up, you know, chunks of coal that fell off the trains, and bringing it home to warm the house up for his, little siblings. It was a different time, man. It was a different time. That was a cashless society too, practically. If you had a penny, it's like you were wondering how you're going to get change for it.
When was that? That's in the 30s, right?
Yeah, yeah, the mid
Yeah,
mid 30s. Yeah,
yeah. I'm not real. One of these days, I'm going to bone up on the depression. I don't know a whole lot about the depression and how it came about and why it came about, and I'm sure that you
well, it
can
was a
educate
bubble.
me a
Yeah,
little bit. It's like any other downturn. Yeah, it's been a bubble. Somebody's putting too much into something, and it was fake and
yep.
all that other crap. So I kind of do understand, kind of where it comes from. But at the same token, I don't. It's not a subject that I know a lot of, and
And
and I
if you
love
want
and I
to,
love history. So
you want to look at it from just a very binary point of view. Um, Basically, it was a correction. Okay, the
a
masses
big one
had
I heard.
the masses had too much money, and the elite took it back from them. I mean, that's basically it.
Well, then it's going to be the
Yeah.
other way around
Yeah.
now.
I mean, the Rockefellers didn't get hurt by the depression. They made a shitload of money off of it.
Well, yeah. Well, you
But
know what?
everybody else lost everything.
If you're set up at the right, if you're set up in the right, we're going to get to this segment.
Once again, you have the resources to
Yeah.
to ride it out.
If you have the resources to ride it out, that's where you're gonna end up getting where you're getting. I mean, that's kind of what you want to do in
Hmm.
life is to always keep your head above water. Unfortunately, a lot of people make bad decisions, and those bad decisions come back to haunt them. Now, whether or not they
Yeah.
made one bad decision and it fucked your whole life, or you made a whole series of bad conditions and it affected your life, um, depending on how serious that decision was, kind of dictates whether you get yourself back up or not. I mean, I can understand, how some people one decision can just ruin their whole life. And I know lots of people who's had one
Mhm.
decision that's ruined their
Mhm.
whole life. And kind of getting to where I want to get to. We have a new feature on the Weathered Soul podcast, and the last half the podcast that we're going to do from now on for a while is a section called the debt grinder. And the reason why I want to learn, I know some stuff about finance. I studied under Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. I'm debt free. I don't owe anybody any money except for my mortgage. Otherwise, I don't know. It's liberating to be debt free.
Mhm.
I want everybody to be debt free, but I wanted to make that point that life is full of choices. Now, you might have been born into a zip code area, state, country, wherever, where you got a little bit of disadvantage to get from point A to point B. But basically, if you make the right decisions and stuff like that, you can pull yourself away. With that being said, uh, one of the points that I just wanted to make was that there's so much debt that's going on in the country right now, and a lot has been said about student debt. And with presidential election coming up, that's one of the big points of what people want to do, or what the Democrats want to do if they get in office, is they say they want to, quote, take care of the student debts. Well, I just read an article. I can't quote the article, but I read an article today that the just because even though the big thing is about student debt, people are still taking out student loans. I
Because
mean,
because they're easy to get.
because they're easy to get.
Yeah.
So it's not that people are up have their hands in uprage because they've got all the student debt, because you're not learning your lesson and you're still taking the debt.
I
Uh,
worked when I was in college, so I didn't qualify for student loans.
and it's incredible. It's just really incredible how that
That
was
was
a good
funny.
one. That was my dog. It's just incredible how I don't I don't know what to me. It's a no fucking brainer, dude. You don't take out if you don't want the debt, don't take out the debt.
Well, debt isn't a bad thing as long as you can
Mhm.
maintain it properly.
Yeah, I haven't been a non-debt angel. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I want to hammer this down. And for the next couple of
Well, it's a
weeks,
double-edged.
and I'm going to
Yeah.
be training Doug on it, and he's going to disagree with me, but we're going to go both ways on this thing, and we'll have our debates about it. But I'm going to start giving you guys some facts. I'm going to start giving you guys some advice and some skills that you can use to at least start the process of making you guys realize is that we have too much. I'm sitting in a garage full of stuff that I've been through a million times and I still haven't thrown it out. We have so much. I
Yeah.
mean, we basically are consumers and we are just gluttons for stuff. And if you could see beyond the camera lens, this place is just filled with crap.
Did you miss that day at school? The day they said the one with the most at the end wins?
Exactly, but I can't take any of this stuff with me, and I really don't want to throw any of it out. But the point I'm trying to make is that we're in a holiday hangover right now. I mean, right now is the holiday hangover time. We went out and we blew our load on November and December, and come January, the bills are going to start rolling in.
Yeah.
Come this January and February, and you'd be going like, "Holy crap!" And
Well, why did you spend all that money?
oh, why did you spend all that money?
I mean, really, who are you trying to impress? Honestly.
Honestly, that's a
Is it
big
is it
one of
is
my
it is it a
points.
guilt-driven thing because of advertising?
I'm sure it has to be a whole lot of things that are psychologically known by the people that know how to sell you stuff,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Yeah.
very much what it
But you
is.
have to realize too that, in order to get a credit score, you have to uh, establish yourself as being able to pay off your debt.
Well, you see, that's the
So you have to use it wisely. So that would be something like you have to get a credit card, right? And you have to use that credit card, and you may even um, make less than paying it off, but more than the minimum payments for a while, and then pay it off and get your credit score established. But if you totally stay away from that sort of thing. You'll never get credit for in case you need it, like to buy a house or
Of
something.
course, of course.
So it's a double-edged sword. So they make you have to use it.
It's a very very subjective business that we're in.
Yeah.
So I want to start out with a disclaimer that anything I tell you guys from this point forward going on with the debt grinder section is that my results might not be your results, and your results might be greater than my results. I'm not going to guarantee you anything. What I'm saying to you is strictly my opinion. I'm going to tell you what my experiences are. Maybe Doug might share his experiences. I don't know. But we're going to be playing different roles through the next couple
Yeah.
of weeks. Someday I'll play the husband, someday I'll play the wife, whatever. But we're going to interact in a way, and I'm going to show you exactly on the video screen, and with you audio people, I'll be describing what we're doing. And we're going to be going through all the steps that I learned from Dave Ramsey, all the stuff that I learned from Susie Orman, and I put it all together in the way that I actually did it, the way me and Tracy actually got through our debt stuff, because we've only been out of debt for um, honestly, I think for about 5 years. I mean, we may, I mean, not, out of serious debt, but we just paid off our last car about a year ago, and since then we've been debt free. But
Hmm.
if you listen to Dave Ramsey, his show, he's got a very popular radio show. There's people that get out of, hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt in a couple of years
Yeah.
because they really put their nose to the
Yeah. You
grindstones.
can do it. It's
And
been done.
you can do it. Believe me, you can do it.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind that if you follow it to the ground and you freaking buckle down and all you want to do is eat Cheerios and freaking
No, you can have a
SpaghettiOs,
decent life and still do it.
in any case, whichever way you want to do it, you do it. Now, me and Tracy, it took us 10 years. Within that time, we bought a house and we got completely out of debt. And we were able to save a nest egg and stuff like that. And I want to teach you guys exactly how we did it, because it's unlike what Dave says. It's unlike what Susie says. I've taken all their systems and I put them into one, and I developed a system that worked for us. My results might not be your results. I'm just going to give you guys advice. I'm going to give you some opinions. I'm going to give you some facts of what worked for me. And that's kind
Sure.
of and really what it says. And I'm going to say something that might offend somebody and might be off color, but I do believe that there's definitions in life, and there's rich people, there's wealthy people, there's broke people, and there's poor people. Okay, and they all have definitions. And poor to me is a state of mind. Broke to me is a state of circumstance. Rich to me is a circumstance. And wealth is a state of mind. So you got two states of minds. And I hate that poor mind, because that poor mind is programmed to always want to be poor. There's always a downward spiral too. You always find a way to shoot yourself in the ass, or buck the system, or whatever it is, so that you can stay poor. And I don't mean poor by you don't have anything. I mean poor by their state of attitude of wanting to go up or down. Now, some of those people that are poor finally get it in their heads. You're looking at one of them and said, I'm tired of this. And basically, it was a combined effort between me and my wife. And my wife probably had the bigger hammer than I did. And she says, you're going to get your act together, or I'm going to. And it kind of changed my position. So ever since then, we just kind of been obsessed with just being out of debt and being. I
Yeah.
mean, there's something that's beautiful about not having the stress of wondering whether they're going to attach your account, or take your, the tax guy is going to come, or your checking account's gone or something because you're not paying your credit card debt, or whatever debt might be. Come get your car, come get your house, come get your whatever. So
Well, first thing you do is put everything in a trust.
we'll get to that one of these days too. Those one of those is kind of the things that we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about all the
Those are
way
some of
through.
the tricks.
And
But the main thing is to just have self control. I mean, what got you into debt? Was it a misfortunate circumstance? Was it gluttony? Was it lack of responsibility?
Well, you would be surprised on what the statistics are on that because less of the statistics are for a tragedy or circumstance that's happened, and more of it's been because we're gluttonies and we're
Yeah.
just freaking consumers.
Well, that's what I
You
figured.
know, it's the I want to be keeping up with the Joneses, and I've got to have that because my neighbor has that, or
Yeah.
my best friend got a new.
And the reason
Uh,
why people don't have most Americans don't have $400 in the bank for an emergency or whatever the big thing was last year when they closed
yeah,
the
and we're
government,
going to talk about that.
um, is because they've got to buy that big Chevy SUV that gets 4
Absolutely,
miles to the gallon
absolutely,
and drive it 60 miles to work every day.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're talking about me. Doug
Uh,
always seems to look at me and just kind of wink and go like, that guy that drives 60 miles to work every day.
well, no, I mean,
But no, I understand
no,
exactly what you're talking
and
about.
listen, I'm lucky.
No,
I was brought up by a very disciplined man. I told you about my father going up in the morning, collecting the coal and doing the paper and blah blah blah. And he was lived his whole life that way.
no.
I mean, my father would drive me crazy the way he would like use the momentum of a downhill slope with the car in neutral and then let it roll till it just about stopped before he gauged it and started going again. And we're talking like on the freeway.
Well, I'm hoping that I'd be able to reach people on all the income levels and all the age levels because, as you were saying before, the Generation Z, or I think that's what they're calling them now, Generation Z or whatever, that's coming into play, are generally in a cashless society, and I believe that to be very true, just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you
Well, there was
say.
actually a news thing on it today
But
that sparked my interest in it,
yeah,
especially after
uh,
what we the agenda for the talk tonight.
yeah, and whether or not the situation happens to be whether it be cashless or not, there has to be something that is in terms of wealth that you have, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be walletless, whether it be
Well, yeah,
whatever it is. There's always going to be something that you're going to have to transfer to somebody else to have goods and services.
yeah.
The government's not going to do it all for you.
You know what the kids had a hard time on? Were recurring charges like um, in video games and stuff. It was like, oh well, they charged me $1 to play this game, so I played it, and then my dad said that there was $150 bill on his credit card or on the phone bill or blah blah blah. I didn't even know that they were charging me.
Yeah, well, you know what my answer to that was? That my dad never lent me his credit card.
Well, I mean, even on the phone bill, however they get charged for like in-game purchases and
Well,
things like that.
exactly. They charge it to your phone bill. They got it planted in there exactly for that reason. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
reason why you get yourself into debt because you don't think before you sign on the dotted line or before you swipe that card or before you put in that code or whatever it is. I mean, it's so easy right now to consume. I mean, it's never been easier in this world to consume. I mean, I'm even going to prove that to you too, is because during this segment that we're going to do, the debt grinder, is that I'm going to be offering you guys my services, as a personal freaking consultant. I mean, I'll
Right.
I'll be
Yeah.
able to be hands on, one on one with you guys, and be able to
And
console you.
it gets really hard when you have, your credit card rate go up to like 25% because you missed a payment.
No, but that's 25% if you're a good fucking risk, dude.
Well,
I mean, you're talking about what they're charging you now. I think my lowest card is like 18% plus prime.
oh, that's pretty bad.
I've got freaking excellent freaking credit,
Yeah.
dude. I've got the best cards money can fucking buy, that you can have. I've got an over
I'll be honest, I don't even know what the rate is on my card because I pay it off every month.
exactly.
I don't
I
even
don't
look at it. I don't
exactly,
even
and that's
see
what I
it.
don't have to worry about. And that's another thing. Like I said, I'll be getting into that in the next podcast. Is we'll be talking about some of those rates and cards and stuff like that because I still have my credit cards. And in Dave Ramsey's program, he is totally against credit cards. He wants you to get rid of them all. Susie Orman's kind of iffy on it. To me, I think you have to have them.
You have to have
You
them.
have to have them.
You have to
And you
have
have
them.
to have them just because you have to live life. And if you don't have that Dave Ramsey fantasy fantasy cash behind you, you're not getting anywhere with the banks and stuff like that. So you still have to go through the motions to buy a house. You still have to go through the motions to get an apartment or a place to live and stuff like that. So it's really rough out there. But
I think they passed a bill that said that something to regulate cashless stores. I think they're nixing cashless stores. Like you have to accept cash whether you want
I
to
think
or
that's a
not.
good thing. I think it's a
Yeah.
good thing. I really do, because a lot of this situation that we're going to be sending you through is actually using cash. It's actually having cash on hand, and it's actually being able to use that
It's
not
easier
only
to
for,
meter it.
yeah, and not only for the fact that yeah, it's easier to meter, and then you feel that pain when you give that dollar up. You know,
Yeah.
when you swipe a card, doesn't hurt, doesn't hurt.
Well, it should.
It should.
You
It
should
should.
train yourself to. Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. It was like, news segment I was watching, talking to the Gen Z kids, we're all just young kids.
Oh
And
yeah.
they all have smartphones and they're all talking about, like buying, like you got to pay to get you got to, they call it skins or whatever. You got to pay for your uniform on your game that you're playing, even though the game is free, blah, 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 blah. But then, they're talking to the kids' parents afterwards, and the mother's like, I spent so much money on my credit card this Christmas, just like you're saying. And I just, just ship, 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 ship,
Yeah.
ship. Next thing you know, blah, blah. Like I say, what do you mean I'm out of money? I still got checks.
Yeah, well, I've got 8
Yeah,
credit cards and all of them are maxed out,
right.
you know?
I use one to pay the other.
Yeah. You got a $2,000 card, you got a $10,000 card. If you're real good, you got a $50,000 card. I mean,
Scary.
it's scary. I mean, you can get up there. I mean, I've got two, I've got three cards. I use one. The other two are sitting in my safe.
Yeah. Well, I did that I had one card that had like a 6% interest. It's supposed to be 6% interest for life. It's a Chase card. And yeah. And then one day I get a letter from him saying, "You're not spending enough money. Give us our card back."
Yeah, probably. I've got a
Yeah.
couple of cards like that.
Yeah.
I just paid one that I don't even use, $39. You know why? Because I don't want to get rid of the credit off of my off of my report, because I'm such a spinster and wanting to keep that FICO score up, just in case. You just never know. I mean, the whole thing about creating wealth and getting out of debt, we're going to get you out of debt first. And then after we get everybody out of debt, and I've gone through the program, and everybody wants to participate in the program, they'll be able to buy my program. Then we'll get into the wealth building cause, and then wealth is a whole different aspect, because once you start building wealth, then you can start getting rid of that credit cards and getting rid of that insurances and stuff like that, because you'll have that money behind you that's able to make you more mobile and get that. So there's a reason why I want to get you out of debt, and then I want to bring you up into wealth, because that's where I want to be. I mean, when I retire in 10 years from my job, I'm gonna I'm gonna work till I'm 70. I'm gonna be 60 this year. I'm not gonna stop working because I love to work, but I want to have enough money that even though I'm making money on the side, I still have the money behind me, just make sure that you know
Hmm.
you got to be wealthy. I mean, basically, that's what you need to do. And I'm going to try to teach you some ways is be able to create the wealth and also to keep the wealth. And it's very important for me
Yeah.
that a
Well,
lot of
investing it
the more
properly
people,
helps too.
yeah,
And
and the more people that we have that are wealthy, the better off society is going to be all the way around. Because once you're wealthy and you do the wealthy in the right way and you get out of debt the right way, you want to start giving. And I want to give back to the people that have helped me out, and the places that have helped me out, and certain charities that I have a passion for, and that you give back. I mean, that's basically,
we must be wealthy. We give a lot of money away.
yeah, we do. So we're wealthy already, but that's kind of what this whole thing's going to be about, and I'm really excited about it, and I want it to go forward. So uh, next week we'll be doing our first lesson on it, and it'll be the second part of the podcast. We'll be in two parts of the podcast. If you want to be a part of the second part of the podcast, you're more than welcome to leave after the first, but you must stay for the first.
After you watch the commercial, you can
After,
hang up.
yeah, and then watch it after you watch the commercial, then you can go. But
Really.
that's the exciting things that are going on with the Weather Soul podcast, man. I love it, and I'm stoked for 2020 because I left 2019 behind me, and I still miss Anthony. I love you, Anthony. I changed some stuff on my Facebook because you're here now, you're here now, and you're my soul now, and
Well, he always was.
he always was. But so time to start putting some stuff away, and we got to look for a 2020, and I'm sure that everybody's got to do a little bit of cleaning, and a little bit of remembering, and a little bit of everything that just makes this whole thing possible, and this whole world go round. And I love this world, man. I love this country. I love you, man. I love this podcast. I love the people that listen to this podcast. I thank you guys. I'm just looking forward to a great 2020, and I think
Yeah.
wouldn't be too many highlights that would make it better than
Well,
2019. But at the same token, that we're gonna fly off, dude. We're gonna do this thing with the debt crush, debt excuse me, that debt grinder segment of the podcast is really going to go forward. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the whole podcast thing going on forward.
yeah. Well, it's always it's always good to hear new ideas
So,
and what's out there, new resources and so forth.
and I was scanning my email, and we haven't got much email lately. So, if you want to email, you got some questions, you got some concerns, you want to see something going on in the podcast, just all you have to do is get on your little email machine and type it Bruce the Weathered
Yeah.
Soul at
There.
gmail.com. That's Bruce the Weathered Soul at gmail.com. I'll take all your questions. I'll answer them on the air. I'll answer them personally. I'll read them all. I've read, a couple of good comments that we've had on the podcast, and I just really appreciate everybody listening
Jane,
to it.
you ignorant slut.
I'm telling you, that's right. That's right. But share the podcast. We're on Anchor.fm. You can grab us on any podcatcher. And until next week, that's all I've got, man.
Excellent.
All right, man. Well,
All
you
right.
take care.
You too.
Have a good week.
I hope everybody has a great, successful week. Start to the new year.
All right.
Monday is going to be kicking full gear. Traffic's back.
Traffic's back.
Everybody's hungover.
Woo!
Yep. Looking at their wallet, going, "Oh God, I got to go to work and pay this off."
And then old Willie would say, "Onward through the fog, baby.
Onward through the fog.
Onward through the fog." We'll see you later, man.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yogi puppy.